Test. Test.
Good evening, everyone. We're so happy you're back here with us. And before we do the short lecture and the food demo, we want to sing a song. And the title of the song is Amazing Love. And you know, when I first practiced the health message, started living a healthy lifestyle, I didn't realize the blessing and the benefits of it. I was like, I have to do it because God said so. And I was like, you know how sometimes we do things because we think we have to, and we're not happy. But then, as I realized that it was out of God's love that God is giving us this health message, that God is giving us this healthy lifestyle to practice, then I am able to do it out of love. And it's out of joy that I practice, that I watch what I eat, I watch what I drink. And then I realize that indeed it's a blessing. And like I shared Sabbath afternoon, I have several of my batchmates. We showed the picture Sabbath afternoon, one died of cancer. And then within weeks, another batchmate of mine of heart attack. Actually, 3 batchmates of mine within months time died one after another. And then I realized, Lord, you are indeed a God of love, that you're trying to save us, your people, from all this suffering and unnecessary death. So indeed, God has that amazing love for each one of us. That's why He gave us this health message.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found, was blind, but now I clearly see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear, the moment when I first believed. Amazing love, amazing love, to me has made known. Amazing love, amazing love, redeem me for His own. There is a name I love to hear, I love to sing its worth. It sounds like music in my ear, the sweetest name on heaven and earth. It tells me of a Savior's love, who died to set me free. It tells me of His precious blood, the sinner's one and perfect plea. Amazing love, amazing love, to me has made known. Amazing love, amazing love, to redeem me for His own. Amazing love, amazing love, to me has made known. Amazing love, amazing love, redeem me for His own. Redeem me
Amen. Yes, it is indeed amazing love of God that gives us all these truths so that we can be healthier, we can be happier, and we can be holier. Okay, so tonight we're going to share about food. So I guess because it's about food, James figured that it would be better if I share, right? Last year, I think when we were here, we shared some food demos, food recipes, raw food recipes. And tonight, we're going to share some. I had wished that we could share more, but in a short period of time that we have, we can only share a little bit. But anyways, we want to show you some things that at least we can do at home, and then it can give us some idea of what we can do when we're at home or share with others also. So tonight we're going to talk about live food. And I think, although like we have been, James mentioned it over and over again, although nutrition or the diet part is not the whole health message, but it plays a major, major role in the overall health. Because if we don't have the foundational diet, then it's hard for us to be able to practice the whole thing. It's hard for us to be able to be whole or to be healthy. So I think we all know this. We get lectures about all this stuff over and over and over again. But one thing that we realize is that with food, a lot of times we as Seventh-day Adventists or as health reformers fail in our health reform practice because we eat way too much cooked food. Generally. And the thing is, live food is life. So if you want to have life, what do we have to do? We have to eat a lot of live food. And the thing is, it's a lot easier for us to eat all the cooked foods and all the, tasty and all the recipes and all that stuff, but we're not going to get life out of something that's dead, right? So we realized in our dealing with people that are sick that in order for them to rejuvenate their health and for them to get well, we have to give them a lot of live food, if not 100% raw food. Now, I'm not going to talk of something that I don't know anything about, because we ourselves ended up eating raw foods for a time. And it started as an experiment. We were just going to do it, see how we feel, because we would do, 10-day cleanse, 5-day cleanse, and then after that we'd eat raw for 2 weeks to a month. And then we'd feel so good. We'd have so much energy, and we'd feel so good. We'll be bouncing up the walls, like James says. And then we would go back on eating cooked food, and we would feel dead and sleepy and tired. So we would go back and forth. We went back and forth for 5 years, and then remembering how we feel when we were eating raw, until finally one day we decided we're just going to eat raw, for a time. We said, okay, we'll do it for a year as an experiment, how we feel. And when we did that, we had so much energy. I mean, if you think James has a lot of energy now, doing his lectures and stuff, you watch how he is when he's doing raw. He said he's bouncing up the wall. He said, wow, this is like his high, he said. He was doing drugs before, but this is the good high. And remember his lecture on Sabbath afternoon, I think it was. I can't remember, Sabbath afternoon, about dopamine. That when we eat all those highly processed, high salty, and high in fat foods, we release dopamine in our brains just like we're having drugs. But with raw food, this is the real dopamine levels that are good. I mean, it's the real thing, right? Because when you're doing the artificial one, you get that high, but then after it goes down, then what? What happens? You get depressed or you get angry until you get your next set of your dopamine levels, right? So, but with the raw food, you're high all the time. All the time. So that's what we realize when we eat this raw food. So it is something, when we talk about this raw food, it is something that we have experienced and we know how it was. So like James says, all the treatments that we share with people and we use on people, it's not something that we just learned or it's a theory. It's something that we have tried on ourselves. So when we talk about coffee enemas, garlic enemas, hot fever bath, something that we have tried on ourselves also. And at first, I didn't realize, having health issues, I was like complaining to the Lord. I said, Lord, why do I have to have these health issues? Why this person doesn't have any and they're eating whatever they want. Now I have to watch what I eat because of these health problems that I have. But now I see it as a real blessing because of those health conditions. Then I'm able to practice and do all these treatments and all this stuff that I would not have done if I didn't have any health issues. So it turned out to be a blessing. So now with the raw food, principle in the Bible says the life of the flesh is in the blood. And we know that. And so if you want to have good blood, you have to have, if you have to have good health, you have to have good blood. And with this slide right here, it shows the molecular structure of plant chlorophyll, which is the green juice of the plant. And then compared to the human blood hemoglobin at the right there, and it shows, look at that, exactly identical, right? Except for, there's more magnesium. There's magnesium in the plant chlorophyll as compared to iron, which is in the human blood. So it tells us that the best and ideal nutrition or food for our blood is what? The plant chlorophyll. And the thing is, let me go to the next slide. See, chlorophyll is plant blood. And it's almost identical to our own red blood cells. It cleanses the blood, it binds with heavy metals and helps remove them from the body. It cleanses the bowel, increases red blood cell count, oxygenates the blood, alkalizes the blood, helps fight disease, strengthens immunity, anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, and cancer protective. So these are all the benefits of chlorophyll. However, we know that we have gone way far out of the original plan that we don't eat as much chlorophyll, as much green leafy vegetables anymore. In fact, that's part of the original diet in the beginning was the green plants and the fruits. Before the grains and the root crops was given, it was actually green plants and the fruits that was given. And because God knows all these things, God knows how powerful plant chlorophyll is. So that's part of the original diet that God has given us. Again, liquid chlorophyll benefits. It's highly alkaline. It contains antioxidants, vitamins like A, C, E, K, folic acid, iron, calcium, protein. And antioxidants protect the body from the damage caused by free radicals. Other elements help build healthy cells and enhance the function of the immune system. This reduces the risk of cancer. This is one of the most important health benefits of liquid chlorophyll. Now, with our interviews or observation with people all over, especially in the Philippines, the consumption of green plants is very, very low with an average person or average family. In fact, I think it's worse in the Philippines. At least here in the United States, people eat salad, right? And of course, we douse them with all kinds of highly cholesterol or too much fat dressings that we store-bought and whatever, but at least we eat salads here in the United States. But in the Philippines, they don't like to eat raw salads, raw greens, or anything like that. In fact, the old people in the Philippines, they're afraid to eat, right? They're afraid to eat something that's raw, especially the leafy greens, because they said that will mess up the system, mess up the intestine or whatever. So they're afraid. And so that shows that we have gone way far away from the original plan of God. And like I said, I share with our, when we do our food lectures and food demos, I said, we should be like the cows and the carabaos that when they see grass, we should get excited. But who among us gets excited when we see something that's green? No. In fact, the young kids, when they see something that's green, when we start doing our green smoothie demo, and they see the green, we start blending the green, you can see the faces of the young people. They're like, are they gonna give that to us? And like, you can see the faces. So that shows that we've really gone way far away from God's original plan. But then once they taste it, they say, oh, it's not that bad. I guess it's okay. It's not that bad after all. So, and we're gonna do some of that later, so we will have an idea how it's done, and then you can be encouraged to do it on your own. Liquid chlorophyll benefits. Chlorophyll also neutralizes the effect of carcinogens in all body organs. As a part of detoxification, chlorophyll helps the body to get rid of calcium oxalate stones by breaking them down. This reduces the risk of kidney diseases. See? I mean, no wonder why we have a lot of kidney problems, because people are not eating greens. And if they do eat greens, especially in the Philippines, it's cooked greens. So it's steamed spinach or steamed greens, and you use about 40 to even 80% of the vitamins and minerals once you cook those greens. So tonight, we're going to show you how to utilize the power of greens without cooking it, an easy way to do it, and then we will utilize all the nutrients and the vitamins and minerals of the greens right there in using the blender. Okay, so here we are at a church in Fairview, doing a green smoothie recipe right there, and I think that's a mango tango recipe that we call it. And so we want to show people that they can have all the power of greens right there in a blender, and then they can blend it for like 1 to 2 minutes, and they can drink it, and they can have the benefits of greens right away. And then after that, we let the people taste, because taste and see. The Lord says, taste and see that the Lord is good. So even with the health message, people have to experience. They have to see it before they can realize that, oh yeah, it's okay. It's not that bad. And then they can feel the benefits, and they will be encouraged to practice. And the thing is, just like with our gospel, I think a lot of times the reason why we don't have enough power for the people out there is because why? It's because we're telling them, oh yeah, you know, I once heard this illustration, and I think it's a very good illustration. I said, you're out there, it's cold, it's like 40 degrees outside, and you're freezing, and there's this man out there that's freezing out there, and you're telling them, you know what? There's a room out there that's 70 degrees. All you need to do is go in there, and you'll be warm. You won't have to be cold. But then you're out there freezing with him. That's what's happening. We're sharing with people out there. I said, you know what? There's power in the gospel. There's power that God is willing to give each one of us, and He can change our lives. We don't have to be living in sin. But then we're out there in sin with them. And the same thing with the health message. The reason why we don't have enough power that when we share with people is that we're telling them all these things. Oh, you know what? You have to eat all this good food and avoid all the bad food and stuff. But then we ourselves are not practicing. Right? Or we're hobbling along and we're sick and dying like them. So how are we going to tell them that you can get well? You don't have to be sick. There's power in God's health message for you to get well if we ourselves are sick. So, I think that the very first thing is that we need to, we cannot share what we don't have. So we need to practice it in ourselves and have it in us, the healing and the powerful healing power of the health message in us, so that we can share it with others. Because they do need it. The world is sick and dying, and they are ready for it. So, we like to let people experience it and taste it, so that, you know, they have tasted and seen for themselves. So that's what it looks like. Green smoothie. See? Does that look appetizing and yummy? Yeah, okay, good. Okay. I think this is what we're gonna, I don't know, this is not the recipe that we're gonna do. He was starting to, he was starting to write it down, but I guess he didn't finish. Green piña colada. This is a recipe that we do in the Philippines. I'm sorry, we were gonna change it, but then we didn't find the time. But at least you have an idea. And the thing is, there's a lot of examples out there. There's what they call a green smoothie revolution going on out there, out in the world. People are excited about doing green smoothies, and they're doing it, and they're coming up with recipes, and there's a whole bunch of recipes out there. If you will just search and look, there's a lot out there. You can experiment also on your own. Like when we share with people, we show them a basic 1 or 2 recipe of a green smoothie, and then they go home and they experiment on their own, and then they message us, they text us, and then they email us and tell us all these recipes, green smoothie recipes that they come up with. And so we like that. We like to learn from others also what kind of recipes they come up with, including using wild greens. Yeah, people come up with recipes with wild greens, and in fact, the wild greens are higher in vitamins and mineral contents than the, cultured greens. So they're good for you. So try, experiment on those, and you can go brave and use some of that sometimes. Okay, see, that's another picture of a green smoothie. There, that looks good. Now, I think we shared this also last time, but for those who are not here, these are people that were sick and dying, and they practiced a healthy lifestyle, raw food actually, drink green smoothies and juices and all that, and they got well. This is the Botenko family. I don't know if you've heard of them. We heard them speak and do lectures a few times, and they were sick and dying when the kids were barely young. I think it was Sergi was 10 and Valia was 8. They were those ages, and they had juvenile diabetes and asthma. So she was having asthma 3 times a week. She was failing in school, and the Lord led them into a raw diet. She said she remembers her grandmother telling her that, "Ask and it shall be given unto you, seek and ye shall find." And she claimed that promise, and one day she came across this lady at the bank that shared to her about raw food. And so she did that, and within 1 month, they were all well from whatever they were having. She had arrhythmia, so she had heart problems, and then the husband had thyroid problems. She's gone through 9 surgeries. So when they started eating raw, within 1 month, all the symptoms were completely gone. And up to now, they're still well, and they're traveling around sharing the health message that we're supposed to be sharing. So, and she wrote all these books here. Green Smoothie Revolution, Green for Life, the benefits of, having greens in your diet or in the green smoothies. Very, very good book. And all these different books that she wrote. And another person that, did green smoothie and raw food diet and healed himself. This man is called Paul Neeson. Have anybody heard of him? No? Okay. He had Crohn's disease or irritable bowel syndrome when he was in his 30s, I think. He was working at the New York Stock Exchange, and he was so sick that he was having bloody bowels. Even at the subway, he can't control it, that sometimes he had to jump right there in the subway and have bloody bowels for like 30 times a day. It was that bad. And so he learned about raw foods, juicing, and he was doing wheatgrass juice and green smoothies, and he got well in a year and a half. And in fact, his book there documents his healing journey. It showed the ultrasound of his colon before and then after. So up to now, he's well, and he travels around sharing with people the message of health also. And he's not a Seventh-day Adventist. The person before, the family before that I showed you about, they're not a Seventh-day Adventist also. This guy's not a Seventh-day Adventist. However, we met him once at a raw food festival in Oregon, and we realized on Sabbath, because on Sabbath we kind of like kept to ourselves. It was a weekend event. So we stayed at our tent. You kind of kept to ourselves on Sabbath so we don't have to do their thing. And he was like, we saw him in a suit and a tie. And it's like, oh, I wonder if he's a Sabbath keeper. And come to find out, he is a Sabbath keeper. He keeps the Sabbath. He's like one of those Judeo-Christians, but he's not a Seventh-day Adventist. So I'm thinking, a lot of these people are going to be ahead of the kingdom than us, because they are really practicing the health message and the things that we are supposed to be the one that are practicing. Also, during that time when we were doing the raw food festival there, we met all these New Age people. And those people, we have never seen people that are so healthy than those people. They are a picture of health, like glowing faces, so much energy. And they look so happy. In fact, this old man that was 70 years old, Fred Bisky is his name. He's also a prominent guru or teacher of raw food in the raw food movement. We saw him jogging around for an hour, talking with this young man that was 30 years old while we're eating our breakfast. And he was jogging the whole time. While he was jogging, he was talking to the young man. And like James said, look at that old man. And it's like, he's eating raw food. And I said, yeah, amazing. I said, how are we even going to go run up to the mountains? I know, huh? But this guy was running for an hour. And you know what? They eat raw food. They grow their own food. They live up in the mountains, away from, pollution and all that. And all those truths were given to us long time ago. And these people are practicing it. I said, you know what? These people are going to go in the kingdom before we do, I told James. So we better watch out, because the stones are gonna steal our place. And I think it was him. It was him when because they have their different booths. We saw him with a book. Oh no, it was one of the raw food gurus that they have, and it's not the Seventh-day Adventist. Obviously, they're into New Age. They had one of the books of Ellen G. White on their table. And I said, wow, it was amazing. This man, anybody knows? Yes. Reverend George Malcolmus. Okay, he was also sick and dying with colon cancer, right? And then he learned about raw foods, juicing, and green smoothies, and he did that, and he got well in a year and a half. And up to now, he's still well, and he has a lifestyle center called Hallelujah Acres. Does that sound familiar? That's supposed to be the work that we're doing, right? He's doing it. And not only that, he's training health ministers. He calls them health ministers. So they go through training in his lifestyle center right here. And he trains them to be health ministers. And you know what? We watched a video of him speak at a church right here at Loma Linda. And he was giving the Seventh-day Adventists a really straight message. He said, you know what? He said, I love you people. He said, I love you Seventh-day Adventists. But you know what? They said, your potlucks. He was shaking his head. So he was giving them a straight testimony. And he said, you know what? You guys have been given this message long time ago. That's what he told them. And it was like, we were so surprised to hear that message. Okay, so the food you eat can be either the safest and most powerful form of medicine or the slowest form of poison. And that was Anwigmore, and then Hippocrates, who is the father of medicine, told us that let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food. Okay, so raw foods. Like I said, we need to eat more and more raw foods. If we want to feel alive, if we want to be healthy, then we need to eat more raw foods. I'm not saying we have to eat 100% raw. We have done it. We know how it's like. But the more raw foods, the better. So benefits of following a raw food diet include improved skin appearance, excess weight loss, improved digestion, the reduction of many diseases such as heart disease, diabetes, and cancer, as well as many other health debilitating ailments. Raw foods typically do not have as many trans and saturated fats as compared to most cooked foods, especially fast food, junk food, and any other processed foods. And in fact, they have some like a challenge or programs on the internet where they do raw for 30 days. You know, they encourage people to eat raw for 30 days to overcome their diseases. And it's working. It's working for people. So, if you're sick or if you have some serious illness, go raw. Go raw for a month or so until your health improves. I mean, you don't have to do it, you know, like commit yourselves to being 100% raw for the whole lifetime, but at least to rejuvenate your health, you can do that, and it doubles the time of the rejuvenation of the body, because the body don't have to process all the cooked food, which is actually hard for the body to do. Actually, the first time we ate a cooked meal after being raw, we actually did raw for 5 years. We couldn't believe it that we ended up doing it for 5 years because we felt so good. You know what? You didn't even get a cold the whole 5 years. You didn't even get any snot or booger or anything. It was amazing. Yeah, and it's like you have so much energy. We only had to sleep 5 or 6 hours every night. That's all we could afford to sleep because we have so much energy, right? And so we really experience how it's like. And like I said, I think if we have like the 87, 89, 91, 93 fuel, I call it the jet fuel. So you're like on 98 or 99 octane. So that's how we felt during that time. So that's why we felt so good that we ended up doing it for 5 years. Raw foods are also extremely high in nutrients such as potassium, magnesium, fiber, and plant phytochemical. A report from the Journal of Nutrition stated that increased use of raw foods in our diet lowers both cholesterol and triglyceride levels in the body. Some of the main indicators for heart disease, obesity, and high blood pressure. Like I said, those people that are doing it raw for 30 days, it's a challenge that they do or a program that they do, within 30 days, they're okay. Blood pressure's down, blood sugar's down, and all those health problems basically disappear within 30 days. Whoops. Okay, raw food pyramid. This is the real pyramid, food pyramid, instead of the meat and the dairy and all that stuff, but this is the real one. Notice, leafy greens is at the bottom. That means we need to eat a lot of this. That's not what we're doing. We're eating more of the other stuff instead of eating more of this. And then fruits and vegetables, sprouts and legumes, nuts and seeds, and proteins and amino acids, and then herbs, and then cold pressed oils, a little bit of that. So that's the real food pyramid. Now, let's see some pictures of people that have transformed their lives. They were sick with cancer, diabetes, heart diseases, and obesity. These people. And we've met some people, not necessarily these people that are in the picture, but we've met them. We met some of them when we joined the Raw Sacramento group, because when we were eating raw, we did join them for a year, because kind of like it's nice to socialize with people that eat like you do. Kind of like encourages us, to keep on going, and also we share recipes, so it was a good social thing. So we did that for a year in Sacramento, and we have seen with our own eyes people that were really, really sick, and they got well just from eating raw foods. So we know that firsthand that it is true. So this lady here, you can see, before raw, after raw. This guy, before and after. And this guy, see the big difference, right? And this lady right here, standard American diet in 2004, and here she is in 2010, living food lifestyle or raw food. They call it living food. And there's this lady, November 2010, and there she is, 2011. Just about 1 year, not even a year. Look at the big transformation. I think that's the same lady right there, and look how she is now. Wow. And then here's Karen at 1999 at age 27, and here she is at 2006 at age 33. She looks way younger. Because raw food, what? Refreshes, rejuvenates, and it makes us look young. Because it's life, right? See, our bodies were designed and created by God to live forever. So if we give our bodies the proper fuel, then we would look young, we would look rejuvenated. Look at that. She was 256 there, and here she is after eating raw food. And this is Gingy Taliferro at age 24, and here she is at age 39. She looks way younger. And this guy, I think his name is Joe something. Yes, he has a website. He's so big. I think it's like 400 to 500 pounds, and here he is after eating raw. And there's so many more out there on the internet, and this lady is amazing. She eats raw, natural, plant-based diet. I think you might have seen a video clip of her on YouTube. She's 74 years young. Look at her. Does she look like she's 74 years? No, not at all, right? See, that's the power of, that's what she's eating right there. All that stuff. So, if we want to stay healthy, look healthy, stay young, then we need to eat a lot of raw foods. Again, I just can't emphasize that enough. And especially if we're sick, or really, really sick, or dying, then we need to eat. Because that gives life. Live food is life. Dead food is what? Dead life, correct. So we need to eat a lot of raw food. So tonight we're going to show you some things that you can do so that we can be encouraged to eat raw food. But on the other hand, we can experiment on our own. You can research online. There's a lot of recipes out there. Experiment. Take the time. If people say, I don't have time. Yeah. When you're sick and dying, then you will have all the time then. Don't wait for that. You can do it now. So you have to take the time now. So, again, God said, I have given you every herb bearing seed which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in the which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed to you, it shall be for meat. So again, it was the herb of the herb or the green plants, and then the fruits that were the original diet, and then later on the herb of the field, which is the root crops, the grains, and all that. So according to the food pyramid, we need to eat a lot of these greens. Every day we should be eating a big salad. And then, of course, our fruits. Yeah, that looks like Thailand, huh? So, healthy food is grown, not processed. So, now, let's read from Spirit of Prophecy. Does this support, what I was saying, eating more raw food? Is it supported by the spirit of prophecy? Let's see what she says. Let our people discard all unwholesome recipes. Let them learn how to live healthfully, teaching to others what they have learned. Let them impart this knowledge as they would Bible instruction. Let them teach the people to preserve the health and increase the strength by avoiding the large amount of cooking that has filled the world with chronic invalids. And then, further on, she says, by precept and example, make it plain that the food which God gave Adam in his sinless state is the best for man's use as he seeks to regain that sinless state. And when we read this, I said, no wonder why we felt so good eating raw. Because the food which God gave Adam in his sinless state, what food is that? Is that burrito and haystacks? What's the food that Adam had in his sinless state? It was the raw fruits and vegetables, right? It is the best for man's use as he seeks to regain that sinless state. So, that shows it right there. So that's why when we go to churches, when we go to government offices, or wherever we go, whether it's out there, whether it's in the church or outside the church, we show people that we can eat salads. We need to eat more salads. And we show them how to prepare those healthy salads so that they can eat them for themselves. And they start feeling the benefits. They start feeling alive. The body starts, the body is so happy when they start, even just the little salad that we give them for taster on Sabbath afternoon. People starts coming, they come back to us and they tell us, we felt so good, or we start having more elimination and all that stuff. So how much more if you're doing that on a regular basis? See? Raw food looks good. Yeah. That's actually a raw pasta that I made in the Philippines. And the pasta that I made, because there's zucchini there, but you have to buy it at a grocery store or only in Manila. So I used upo. You know what the Filipinos know, the upo. It's a gourd. It's like it's a squash and some kind of a squash. So, and buko. Shredded buko. Yes, and then I made the sauce, and then the topping on top that looks like kind of like the cheese, whatever, is actually coconut. Shredded coconut with some tomatoes and basil and garlic, and you have like a cheese topping on top. Oops. Okay, raw foods with some dressing. I'm gonna make some dressing right now. After I show you some pictures of raw foods. Fern salad, because we don't have lettuce and stuff, so we have to do some different kinds of salads in the Philippines. So fern salad is one salad that we make in the Philippines. Make like a pate. I think last time we did, or the year before, I think we did the nut pate, and we rolled it in sushi, remember? So for those of you who were here, we did that. I think, like that. See? So that's a raw sushi. And the filling is the nut pate, and then the outside of that is also the upo. It's kind of like a zucchini. You can use a zucchini also. Again, the fern salad. So who needs cake? So when you're eating raw, you don't need to buy a cake or make a cake. You just have a raw watermelon, right? That would be cheaper and healthier. Okay, so, and raw foods, they're loaded with protein. Don't anybody tell you that you don't get enough protein from eating raw foods or eating vegan diet. Because where do the carabaos and the elephants get their protein? Yeah, the cows, the carabaos, and the elephants. Greens. Where do they get them? Greens. They get them from this. They're kinds of greens, right? So don't anybody tell you that you're not getting enough protein. So it's our choice. What do we want? A sick care or health care? Let us not let the new age people go ahead of us and run before us to the mountains. We need to be the head and not the tail. But where are we now? Where are we now, people? Where are we now, God's people? We're the tail, and it's not good. We need to turn that around, though. Let's redeem the time and turn that around. We need to be healing the people out there, not the New Age people. We need to be the one that are teaching the people about health and all this stuff, not the New Age people teaching us. That's sad, actually, that we had to go to Oregon at a New Age raw food movement event to learn about raw foods. That's sad, because we have been given all this years ago, long centuries ago. So let's turn things around, God's people. God wants us to turn things around, and God wants us to be the head and not the tail. And again, calcium is not found in milk and dairy products, but in what? All these greens. Again, greens. That's why it's very important to have greens. And we found out when we do medical missions that a lot of people in the Philippines are low in minerals and all this calcium and all that. And that no wonder why, because we don't eat all this stuff. We have gone away from eating all the greens. Only the animals are still eating. And well, even them, Satan is also perverting their diet. Then instead of eating their grass, Satan is saying, you can have these feeds. And guess what? That's why we have mad cow disease and all this stuff. So when we go away from God's original plan, then disaster is the result. So one of the first duties of the physician is to educate the masses not to take medicine. And that was from William Osler. And he was described as the father of modern medicine. So, the Bible says, "Blessed art thou, O land, when thy king is the son of nobles, and thy princes eat in due season for strength, and not for drunkenness." So we need to remember that whatever we put in our mouth, it should be for strength and not for drunkenness. So we have to pray that God will give us the moral power that we would eat for strength and not for drunkenness. So we're gonna go ahead and do the recipes now, real quick. And the first thing we're gonna do is the green smoothie. Okay. The first thing we're gonna do is the green smoothie. We're gonna do only one tonight for the sake of time, and then when you go home, you can experiment and do more. You can do different kinds of recipes. And what we're going to do tonight is called the kale avo banana smoothie. So, bunch of kale, avocado, banana, and basically water. That's it. See, the main thing with green smoothie is the greens. We're actually after the greens. And the only reason we're putting avocado and some bananas is so that, to offset the taste of, and lemon too, by the way, yeah. Okay. To offset the taste of greens, which is, kale is very bitter if you just eat it by itself, right? But when you put avocado and some banana and then some lemon in it, then it offsets the bitter taste of the greens. So, and you have all the nutrients, all the vitamins, the minerals in the kale right there in the green smoothie. Yes, so 2 cups of water. You probably need more water later. Yeah, we're gonna do it for the whole pitcher, so we're gonna do a whole bunch. So double. But if you're doing it for yourself, actually, you just need like a half an avocado, a banana, and then a bunch of, a handful of kale. But we're gonna do the whole thing, so the whole pitcher, so we're gonna do all. You can add some more greens too. We do the rest. And so the idea with doing green smoothie is, like I said, we need to utilize the power of greens right there. And the fastest and easiest way to do that is to blend it. But we add some fruits, or like in this case, we're gonna add avocado so that it's not nasty. You would not hate me for it if I just serve you just a glass of blended kale you probably would not want to come back to the health meetings, right? But see, that's why we will add some fruits and avocado, and it will taste good. And you can do different kinds of greens. We're doing kale tonight, this time, but you can do any greens. Spinach, lettuce, watercress, all those greens, even wild greens, cilantro, parsley. Utilize all the power of those, all the greens. Oh no, you don't need to do the skin. We forgot to put the lemons. Do you have
Yeah, I'll use a cup. And then
That's really nice. Yes, that's good. And we tell people when they're, because it's good to do a green smoothie every day. Try it, do it. In fact, we do a green smoothie challenge when we do a food demo. We give them a green smoothie challenge when we leave the place. I said, when we're gonna give that to you right now. Drink a green smoothie once or twice a day for the next 2 weeks, and then your whole life, your whole life will be changed. And so, what we encourage people to do is that do a different green. Rotate the greens. You don't need to be doing kale every day or spinach every day, because different greens have different vitamins and minerals. So if you're doing the same thing over and over again, you'll get imbalance also. So you need to rotate the different kinds of greens. And then you can use ice cubes or use cold water so that this is cold, especially on a hot summer day. But for those who are sick, we actually encourage them not to use anything cold. Don't do frozen or room temperature green smoothies for them, because for one, people that are sick, diabetics and cancer, they have poor digestion already. So if the drink is cold, it will make it even harder for them for their body to process. So it's better not to use cold, especially for diabetics. You know why? The diabetics have a lot of fat in their body and in their blood. And what happens when you put ice to a fatty, it hardens even more. So, like the oils, what happens when you put the oil in the refrigerator? It hardens, right? So don't use cold if you're sick. Now, if you're not, if you don't have diabetes and you're okay, then, on a hot summer day, it's okay. You can have ice. Take all the water. Nice and thick. That's good. Yeah, I think so. They have cups?
want to just serve it after the meeting in the kitchen?
Or they can try it while we're...
That way we can continue with the... Yeah, so we'll actually let you taste this after the meeting in the kitchen. That way we can proceed with the other recipe, so that we
Yes.
save time.
Okay. So,
Go ahead and take this in the kitchen. I'll be right back.
so any question on that? On the recipe, on the green smoothie? Yes. Yes. Yes, okay. So the question was, are there dangers in eating in the raw foods, like eating too much sugar and the bananas and all that? Yes, in fact, we made that mistake when we first started eating raw, because our bodies, God created us to be sweet tooth, I think, naturally sweet tooth with the fruits. But because we are in a fallen world, we need the balancing of the greens. And so what we were doing at first is we were doing a lot of the fruits without the greens. And we started having rotten teeth, and it's like, actually even mental imbalance. We started noticing that, experiencing that. So don't do a lot of fruits when you're doing raw. Like I said, balance it with the greens, a lot of greens, and kind of like fruits as a dessert. Not predominantly fruits and then just a little bit of greens. And there are some people that are into that actually, and they have become like crazy. There are people that have gone crazy just because they think we just need to eat fruits.
Like the bananas in the smoothies, and I'm told that bananas are high in sugar. They're good for you, but I don't think it's on.
Yes, it is. I can hear you.
Yeah, so I just wondered, even in your smoothies, you're doing something good. How do you balance it out?
There were 2 bananas in the whole pitcher, but there were more. There was a whole cell of kale, and then there's a lemon and the avocado that offsets the sugar in the sugars of the fruit also. So we noticed that even with the diabetics, when you give them green smoothie, even it's with fruits, because there's greens in it, that balances the sugar right there. So that's why the greens, that's
so for one serving, would you put a half a banana for one person?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a comment. Actually, the reason why we're giving this lecture is because we work with a lot of very sick people all the time. So, we see the need through our own studies, through our own experience, and especially in dealing with very sick people. We're talking about diabetics, people with advanced rheumatoid arthritis, people with lupus, people with cancer, people with high blood pressure. They eat mostly cooked food, and they don't exercise, and they don't drink enough water. So, they're dehydrated, their blood is sluggish, it's like sludge, just trying to get through the veins, see? So we're encouraging people to eat more raw foods because the raw foods heal the body, whereas the cooked food, if we eat too much of it and you don't get enough exercise and you don't burn what you're eating, it's going to break you down. So we know that Ellen White talks about, cooking our vegetables well and things like that. We're aware of those statements, but we also realize that because of the trend in food in these last days, people are eating predominantly cooked food, and they're falling apart. Even Seventh-day Adventists are sick with these diseases. And so we've got to go back to the Garden of Eden, towards the original diet, which we know was a raw food diet. Now, we're not saying you have to eat 100% raw, and Daryl mentioned that in the lecture. We are encouraging people to eat more raw foods in their diet. And for a time, if you're sick, go on a raw diet for a couple weeks or a month, and you'll see amazing results. And we see this with many, many people. And so the cleanse program that we do, people are juice fasting, they're eating raw foods. We don't serve cooked food when they're on a fast or a cleansed. So that's a therapeutic approach to the disease process. And we're going to talk more about that in the lectures tomorrow night and the succeeding evenings. So we'll proceed with the next recipe, honey.
Yes.
Okay. And what are we going to do? Okay. Can we get, okay, I'll go and get it. You can announce what we're going to do.
Okay, so now we're gonna, you see, we have this wonderful salad right there. Again, we want to encourage people to eat more salads, more and more raw foods, and even this, it's good in salad, the kale. That's the king of the greens. So don't only put it in your green smoothies, use it in a salad also. It's actually good with avocados and a little bit of olive oil. You can't even taste the bitterness in it. So we're gonna do salad dressing now, and that way we have something to use for our dressing, and then you can use it as dips for raw vegetables like cucumbers, bell peppers, carrots. A lot of vegetables can be eaten raw. It's just that we have to re-educate our taste bud. We think everything has to be cooked for it to be good. And what we found out when we started eating raw, all those foods started to taste so good and so natural to us. When we're eating the snap peas, yeah, it tastes sweet. It tasted sweet to us. So I guess after a while of eating these raw foods, your body starts to cleanse. Your taste bud cleanses also, and everything tastes good. Even the bitter melon tasted good when we were eating raw. So, anyways, so the base would be nuts, and you can use any kind of nuts. Normally, it's better to soak the nuts first for an hour at least. Actually, any nuts, it's better to soak them to release the, what you call that? Enzyme inhibitors. So it will be easier to digest the nuts. But we didn't have time to soak them. So, and it calls for a cup and a half. We weren't able to put them in a slide too. I don't know. I didn't measure. But just put all of it, I guess. Yeah, and just put a little bit of the almonds. And I like to combine nuts when I'm making dressing or not. Yeah, and actually it was challenging. It was challenging for me when I went to the Philippines because cashews are so expensive, and you can find them only in Palawan in certain parts of the Philippines. You can find them at a market in Manila, but you have to go all the way there, and I don't always go there. It's so polluted and so congested, the market, so I don't go there. So the Lord gave me the idea to use coconut. So yes, so wherever my recipe calls for nut, then I use coconut. And I was so excited when the Lord gave me that idea to use coconut. And because I said, and then the Lord reminded me of the song, the coconut nut is a giant nut. And I said, that's right, coconut is a nut. It just looked different because it's big, but it is a nut. So, so now I can do my recipes calling for nuts without worrying about where I'm going to get my nuts. And the thing is, coconut is found anywhere in the Philippines, all over the place. And if you have your own in the backyard, then it's free. And we have 3 of them in our property. So for your dressing, you can use, and which is also what's one thing that I want to encourage the mothers or fathers that are doing recipes. God can teach us more than the cookbooks. I've found that in my experience, because I would be sitting in my kitchen and I'm like, what am I going to make? And I have all these recipe books, and God will pop things in my mind and do this, do that, make this, make that. And it turns out the best. I mean, it's out of the books. So God is not only a physician, master healer and all that. He's also a cook. He's going to teach us. So mothers, don't worry about all those recipes. So what we're teaching you, God can teach you more than that. So we're just showing you basic things, but God can show you more amazing things with the food. So we have 1.5 cup of nuts, and then water. Yep, we put about a cup of water also. Actually, because we're doing dressing, we can put a little bit more water. And then juice, lemon juice, which is about half of that. And then I'll just let him do that because he has the gloves. And then apple cider vinegar. And, there's controversies over vinegar and all that. So if you don't want to use it, then don't use it. It's okay. Just use lemon.
So how much do you want?
Let's not split hairs over vinegar or oils or whatever. Like I said, last time I shared with, we did our food recipe. Let's not beat people over the head with food. Let's love one another with our food. Not beat each other over the head with food. Okay, so, and then olive oil. You can put some oil also. And then for those, like we tell people, diabetics and those who have health problems, no oils at all. But it just makes a much creamier, much creamier dressing when you put some oil. So, okay. Actually, it calls for 1/3 cup, but when I normally don't use all that they call for. And then sweetener. I forgot the sweetener at home. I don't think so. Do you have honey there? Yes, honey would be good. Sorry. And then you can put the rest of that onion there. I actually forgot the garlic at home. No, not.
So we got 1/4 of an onion.
Yeah, actually calls for onion powder, but I've learned in my when I make recipes, I usually use fresh. Especially in the Philippines, garlic powder gets caked up because of the humidity. So I don't even buy garlic powder anymore and onion powder. So I use fresh all the time. So fresh onion, fresh garlic, See if they have garlic also, and put a garlic in there. And then, sorry about that. And then just the, no, just one. We just need one. And then sea salt. That's it. So I call this a basic salad dressing because you can do basically anything with it. I'm just showing you the basic, and then you can add whatever to it, whatever you like. So if you want it to be like Italian dressing, then you just add a little bit of Italian seasoning. If you want it to be a basil dressing, add some basil. Yeah. Add some basil. Yes. That's fine. Yes.
So we can start it. You can start.
Now just wait for it, because yeah. Okay, so you can do a French dressing by adding a little bit of tomato paste, and it's a French dressing. No, red bell pepper. You add red bell pepper, then it's like a Thousand Island dressing. So that's how. Yeah, so since we don't have fresh, and we can just put garlic powder, which is fine also. Okay, so that's it. And of course, I have Italian seasoning here if we want it to be like, Italian dressing. Yes, we can put some. Yeah, after you blend that first, blend that. Like James was saying, you can use any blender. Don't get discouraged by saying, "Oh, I don't have a high-speed blender." It's okay. You can do any blenders, any blender.
It's pretty thick, so we leave a little bit. Now, if you want to make like a dip, you would leave it really thick. But we want to make a salad dressing, so we're going to add a little bit more water, so it'll be not as thick. So.
So you can use any blender. You just have to blend longer when you're using the regular blenders. I can taste it right now. Okay, so that's it. You do it. You might have to add gas, sweetener, or whatever. So you can just season it. No, I can. You can add some more. And then we can add the Italian seasoning and some basil. So it has some flavor.
Yeah, it needs a little bit more flavor. So if it's flat,
Now, with this basic salad dressing, you can do all kinds of stuff. Like James said, make it thicker. Don't put a lot of water, and you can have dip. So put less water and use it as dip for your fruits, for your vegetables. And then what I did here, I'm going to show you, is the same basic salad dressing recipe, but I made it thick, and at the same time I added some thickener. And instead of using agar and all that, people, there's controversies over that too. People are saying it's from animal products, but so I just used either like a cornstarch or a little bit of oats, and thicken it with that and heat it up on the stove for a little bit so that it will be thick. And then you can use this as a spread. And so what I did with that is I spread it on bread. And sliced the tomato and onion, and then I grilled it. I grilled it on the frying pan. So you have like a grilled cheese sandwich without cheese. And so that's what I did with this. And then you can use it also as a thing for your potatoes. And so what we're gonna do with that, we can put some put it over potatoes, put a little bit of salsa, potatoes, and sometimes beans, and you have a complete meal right there. Potatoes with beans, and then salsa. It's better to make fresh salsa since we didn't have time to chop everything. Actually, we had to go home and take a nap because I'm still messed up with the time. So we have just bottled salsa right there, or picante sauce, but just to give you an idea. But it's better to fresh. Actually, the fresh salsa is way better than any store-bought salsa. So yeah, we can put. It's okay. The taste of that is fine. Yeah. So that's it. And then what else? You can use it as dressing or sauce for your pasta. And if you have a thick salad dressing with bell peppers, like a cheese sauce, you can use it for your pasta, for your pizza, for your lasagna. Anything. You can do anything with that. Oh, so with this, I added a little bit of nutritional yeast, so that gives it like the cheesy flavor. So that's what you need to add, and then the bell pepper to gives it a cheesy. Actually, after I blended it, then I added, either a little bit of oatmeal or cornstarch. Actually, they say cornstarch is not that healthy either. You just use the tapioca starch or, yeah, that's better to use than cornstarch. And I think I would think it's only a tablespoon for the whole batch, just to thicken it. Warmed it up and that thickened it more. We can use that first and then this. I'll add a little bit more vinegar because it is a little bit more sourness and a little bit more sweetness. Okay, any other questions on the food?
We want the different varieties of your green recipe. Last night it was quite fast.
The greens.
The different, because I mean, at least there's a rotation of the greens. So yeah, the rotation.
Okay.
Of the greens.
Yeah, so there are various recipes for green smoothie. So there are many recipes that you can find on the internet for green smoothies. There's a lot of videos. I have a video on green smoothies on our YouTube channel, which is Restoration to Eden Ministry. Restoration to Eden Ministry. You can see the video entitled Green Miracle. And I tell the story of how a lady was actually didn't require a blood transfusion as a result of taking green smoothies, even though she was 9 months pregnant and went into labor in the hospital, and how her blood became normal within 1 week by doing green smoothies 3 times a day. She was very, very ill, very anemic. So anyways, so watch that video. We will be uploading a lot more videos while we're here in the United States, as we will be able to do that. So anyways. Okay, so
So you see what I did with the potatoes, you just steam potatoes. By the way, it's healthier to steam your potatoes instead of boiling them, because you don't lose a lot of the minerals into the water. Yes.
For the cheese sauce that you use with pasta or potatoes, is that the one that you cooked a little bit?
Yes.
Okay, with the thickener.
But what I will, if I will just use it as a sauce, I don't need to cook.
Right.
I cooked it because I'm going to make it into a spread.
Okay, thank you.
Any other question? And then we can taste it over there when we go to the fellowship hall, I guess. And so, grill. So you spread it on the bread, and then add tomatoes and onions, and then you have grilled cheese sandwich, and then you grill it.
okay, so after we're finished here and we close the meeting, everybody can proceed to the kitchen and you can taste. We're going to have salad. We're going to put the salad dressing on it, and you can taste the potatoes. We've got the grilled cheese sandwiches. Okay, so Pastor Harold says that we're going to take an offering first. So we'll let Pastor Harold come and proceed with the closing portion of the meeting. Oh, she already did.
I'm going to invite some volunteers to help me with the offering. Thank you, Johnny.